Hello everyone, welcome to some more horrific news. Alright, this popped up and I thought I'd have a laugh. As you know, I'm a massive Nightmare on Elm Street fan, and yeah, it just kind of demonstrates the stupidity at times of British culture, but let's dive into it. BBFC explains decision to lower A Nightmare on Elm Street's age rating after 40 years. The British Board of Film Classification has issued a statement after lowering the age rating of horror classic A Nightmare on Elm Street. The organisation, which handles the censorship and classification of films released in the UK, had previously given the 1984 movie an 18 rating, forbidding anyone under the age of 18 from seeing it in cinemas or purchasing it on DVD. However, on 1st of August, the film was reclassified with a more lenient age rating of 15, ahead of a reissue of the film this September. Speaking to The Guardian, a BBFC spokesperson said that there is a strong support among audiences for older films to be reclassified to better reflect modern sensibilities. Right, for those that don't live in the UK, are not familiar, we live in one of the most sensorial and nanny-stated places on the planet. Everyone thinks this is a new phenomenon coming up, but it's always been that way. I'm going to do a video sometime on the phenomenon of video nasties, because we were effectively blocked from seeing world cinema because it was deemed too harsh for our sensibilities. Biggest problem in the UK is that most of the ruling class, most of the people that make the decisions, all live in the south. They're all southern pansies, all London centric, all just absolute wimps, and that really reflects on how decisions are made in the media, everything else. You can kind of see it. They're just a bunch of wet wipes, always have been. Now, initially, Nightmare on Elm Street being 18, I get it. It was out there. There's lots of gore, but still, there wasn't really any nudity as such. They managed to keep that sort of under check. So was it as graphic as, say, Friday the 13th? I don't think so. I think it was in par with Halloween franchise, in terms of gore or not, and I could understand even back then maybe getting away with a 15 certificate, but still, 40 years later, come on. But anyway, that's the let's carry on with the article. I could go on for a while about this, but we'll read on and see what it says. Released in the UK in 1985, A Nightmare on Elm Street follows a group of teenagers who are stalked and murdered by supernatural serial killer Freddy Krueger in their dreams. The spokesperson said, "At the BBFC, we review the classification of older films when they are submitted to us by the distributor, typically ahead of an upcoming re-release. When doing so, we apply our current standards as set out in our published classification guidelines. These guidelines evolve over time, informed by large-scale research, most recently involving 12,000 people to ensure that they continue to reflect the expectations of UK audiences. As a result, films may require a higher or lower age rating than they received in the past. In the case of A Nightmare on Elm Street, although the film features various bloody moments, it is relatively discreet in terms of gore and stronger injury detail. The kills often leave more to the imagination than visceral detail, and largely occur within a fantasy context. Compared to more recent precedents for violence and horror at 18, such as Halloween, Thanksgiving, Immaculate, or Saw X, the film is now containable at 15, and we reclassified it accordingly." Immaculate wasn't that graphic. Immaculate was more to the imagination as well. Was that an 18? No way. I'm gonna have to look that up. There's no way Immaculate was given the 18 certificate. That was a 15. Fucking numpties. Anyway, the BBFC most recently updated its ratings guideline in March 2024. According to the organisation, issues are particularly prevalent about the classification of violence, with distressing or disturbing forms of intense or realistic violence being a particular concern. Modern audiences tend to be more accepting of violent scenes, which are more fantastical in nature, they added, explaining that the harshest age ratings tend to be reserved for films which contain realistic, real-world violence. Alright, there we go. Absolute bunch of wet wipes, really. And the thing is, most of the people, you look at the BBC and everything else, there's been many stories over the years that the ones that claim to censor and protect us tend to be up to the gnarliest shit in their personal lives. I would need to look up BBC FC employers, but if it's anything like the BBC, yeah, the ones that preach aren't the nicest people on the planet. But there you go. I'm sure a lot of people internationally will find this funny, but that's the world we live in, and it's always been like this. They've always come down with a jackhammer. It's to do with the class system as well, because if it's under art and arty-farty stuff, they'll happily throw everything out on a stage as long as middle class people are enjoying it. But it's always been this, the normal people, they can't handle it, they need to be protected, they can't see anything. Like I said, all throughout the 70s and 80s, we, like Dario Argento, we didn't get to see those sort of movies. They had to get sneaked in from Germany by squatties. You know what I mean? There's a whole black market at the time. Anyone that was based in Germany, they were coming back and leave, always had a case filled with VHSs for the black market. There's always a way around it, but yeah, that's funny, really is. But anyway, what do you think? After 40 years, do you think they've made the right decision, or do we need to wait another 20 before we're ready for a Nightmare on Elm Street? Considering the fact most of us watched this like when we were 8 or 9 or 10, most of us watched it anyway when it came out. Like that was a Nightmare on Elm Street's biggest fan base was kids and teenagers. Like seriously, it wasn't adults. That's why the franchise is so long enduring. Same as Halloween and Friday the 13th. It was us as kids that watched these things and then stayed with us into adult years. That's why they still managed to make so many sequels, because it was us growing up and then able to go to the cinema ourselves. That's why they got more popular. But anyway, there you go. Thought that was funny. Share it with you. Let me know what you think. And until next time, keep up to date with the channel. Do tiny clicky things. And remember to keep it creepy. Keep it horrific.